Hey everyone, this is King Kong 9700 coming at you again, and today I want to make a quick video on King Kong 2018 being King Kong's biggest size yet. Now you guys are probably wondering, when the hell has a King Kong 2018 film been announced? Well, it's not really a King Kong film, rather a film by Steven Spielberg called Ready Player One. You guys have probably seen the trailer for it, but it's really cool. I mean, characters like Iron Giant and Kong are going to make a cameo in it. And since Spielberg was heavily inspired to create Jurassic Park by King Kong, and also due to the other Michael Crichton books and more factors, it's really cool to see one of his major influences in a film by him. So that's all well and good. Now, one more thing before we get into it, I am going to be making some estimates since we only have one shot of Kong to go off of, but I think that could be pretty accurate. Also, since there's no real given height as of now. But let's get right into it. So let's establish some of King Kong's heights over the years. King Kong from King Kong 1933 is slated to be around 50 feet tall, but in the actual film, he's been shown to be only 18 feet tall in Skull Island and 24 feet tall in New York. King Kong 1962 from King Kong vs. Godzilla, the biggest incarnation of Kong we've seen on film so far, is a whopping 147 feet tall, which is just crazy, especially for his third film at the time, second film being where he himself was in the film. King Kong 1967 from King Kong Escapes stands at 65 feet tall. In Kong's next film, King Kong 1976, the monstrous ape stood at 42 feet tall on Skull Island and was rescaled to 55 feet tall in New York. So they're keeping the tradition of scaling Kong up in the city like the 33 film did. The following sequel, King Kong Lives, had King Kong 1986 standing at around 60 feet tall, a bit shorter than the King Kong Escapes Kong, but 10 feet bigger than his 1933 predecessor. Now, what is to me the absolute best King Kong film and generally best monster flick and overall most amazing film of all time, King Kong 2005, which had Kong standing at only 25 feet tall, which is just a hair bigger than King Kong 1933, but don't get me wrong, this is an immensely powerful Kong. Personally, I think one of the most powerful we've seen to date. Now, the latest version of Kong we've seen, King Kong 2017 from Kong Skull Island, had Kong standing at 104 feet tall. It's mentioned already that he is still growing, and in the comic series Skull Island: The Birth of Kong, he's already doubled in size 22 years after the film takes place. So there's no given number on Kong's height, but it should be somewhere in the 200s. And just for the hell of it, I'm going to throw in the cartoon Kongs, why not? King Kong 1966 from the King Kong Show presumably stood at around 50 feet tall. For the life of me, I could not find a given height on this one. King Kong from Kong the Animated Series stood at around 40 feet tall in his normal form and 80 feet tall when he turns into Mega Kong. And yes, that was an actual thing. I love that animated show, by the way. It was really cool. And for the Netflix show, this is the thing. I don't really know about the Netflix. I mean, he's a juvenile right now and is still growing. I mean, he looks to be around 40 feet tall, but the poster pits him at around 100 or 130. I mean, look at the poster. Like, multiple humans could fit in his hand. And Kong 2017's hand could fit Mason Weaver and possibly a few more people. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it looks like this Kong can grow to 100 feet tall if he's, like, fully grown. Okay, so now we got all of our Kong sizes out of the way, and they all roughly stand near 50 feet tall. But that begs the question, how big is the 2018 King Kong? Well, what you're seeing is the only clip we have of Kong from the film so far, and he does look incredibly large. Now, we're going to have to do some measuring, and I'm going to be using this size chart, which is in meters, but that's no problem, since it can be translated to feet. But for every 10 meters, we can measure the Empire State Building. Now, if we look at the clip, it's clear this takes place on the Empire State Building. I mean, why wouldn't it? It's King Kong. So we can see Kong's hand reaches roughly the middle of the extended part of the building, the top, like near the antenna. I don't know what that's called. His foot that's farthest from him hits roughly the third slab of the building. And what I mean by slab is, if we count the corners of the building on the left, we can count 4 main slabs or floors. We can see Kong's foot hits roughly the third slab of the building. And if we brighten up the image, you can see clearly the line that shows this is the third slab. So yeah, and this all so far lines up with our chart. And speaking of chart, if we go back to it, we can see that I've marked these spots. And if we count the lines that the chart has after what I've marked, there's roughly 9 lines. This translates to 90 meters, and that means King Kong is 295 feet tall. And taking into account the fact that he's slightly hunched, which you can tell by his stance, and how his left leg is behind the main body, that would mean that King Kong 2018 is over 300 feet tall. That is truly insane. That is triple the height of the biggest Kong we've seen so far. Roughly triple. But yeah, if my measurements are correct, then that would mean this is the biggest Kong we've seen in film to date. Hopefully though, Kong in the Monsterverse stands at around 330 feet tall, so he sizes well against Godzilla, like in this poster. But yeah, this is the biggest Kong yet. Unless you take into account the King Kong from a comic, who clearly towered over the 305 foot tall Statue of Liberty, meaning that he'd stand possibly at 340 feet or over. But hey, that's from a comic, and all the sizes are usually inaccurate, especially since it was a cover. But yeah, guys, King Kong 2018 would stand roughly over 300 feet tall, meaning that this would be the biggest Kong yet. Hopefully not for long though, assuming 2020 Kong is 330 feet tall, around that height. So he's slightly smaller than Godzilla. Not as tall, but just near his height. So let me know your thoughts down below. Like, are you guys excited for Ready Player One? Also, what role do you think Kong would play? And I don't know. I really want to. I know this is really unlikely, but I really want to see King Kong fight the Iron Giant. That would just be so cool. But yeah, let me know down below. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more. This is King Kong Knights 100 signing out. See ya.